The next day, I walked into AI restaurant. Before I could even sit down, I heard someone shouting, "Don't worry, citizens! Super popcorn is here!" I looked up and saw a giant bucket of popcorn wearing a red superhero cape and a tiny blue mask. It stood proudly on a table with both hands on its hips. The AI robot waiter smiled and whispered, "Meet Super Popcorn. It believes it can save the entire restaurant from danger." I asked, "What danger?" Super Popcorn pointed dramatically toward a tiny puddle on the floor and shouted, "A dangerous flood!" The talking pizza looked at the puddle and sighed. "That's just spilled juice." The talking burger couldn't stop laughing. Super Popcorn jumped from the table, landed in a superhero pose, and proudly declared, "Every hero starts with small missions." The AI chef handed Super Popcorn a tiny mop. Instead of cleaning, Super Popcorn wore it like a superhero sword. I laughed and said, "That's not how mops work." Super Popcorn smiled confidently and replied, "Every hero has their own style." Suddenly, a loud popping sound echoed through the restaurant. Every popcorn kernel in the giant bucket started bouncing with excitement. The restaurant lights flickered. A glowing message appeared on a holographic screen. "Emergency alert! A mysterious villain has entered AI restaurant." Everyone turned toward the entrance in complete surprise. The restaurant doors slowly slid open. A mysterious figure wearing a long black cape stepped inside. The whole restaurant became completely silent. Super Popcorn jumped in front of everyone and shouted, "Don't panic! I'll handle this villain myself!" The robot waiter quietly rolled its eyes. The mysterious figure removed the cape, and everyone gasped. It was a giant talking onion wearing dark sunglasses. The talking onion smiled and said, "Relax, I'm not a villain. I'm the new customer." The talking burger burst into laughter. Super Popcorn wasn't convinced. It pointed dramatically at the onion and declared, "Every superhero knows a disguise when they see one." The AI chef handed the onion a menu. The onion politely ordered onion rings. Everyone stared in confused silence. The talking pizza whispered, "Wait, an onion ordering onion rings? Isn't that a little weird?" The onion shrugged with a smile. Super Popcorn secretly followed the onion around the restaurant, hiding behind chairs, tables, and even a tiny flower vase. The onion suddenly turned around and caught Super Popcorn spying. It smiled and said, "You know, I can see your cape sticking out." Just then, the lights blinked again. A loud alarm echoed through the restaurant. "Attention! The giant soda machine is overflowing!" Super Popcorn pointed toward the kitchen and shouted, "A real mission at last!" Soda, popcorn, cracking up. Everyone rushed into the kitchen. The giant soda machine was spraying fizzy soda everywhere like a fountain. Super Popcorn jumped onto a nearby table, pointed at the machine, and shouted, "Stand back! This is a job for a superhero!" The AI chef handed Super Popcorn a giant wrench. Instead of fixing the machine, Super Popcorn held it like a superhero hammer. I sighed and carefully pointed to the giant red button labeled "Stop." Super Popcorn scratched its head and smiled awkwardly. Before anyone could press the button, a powerful burst of fizzy soda launched everyone backward. Even the talking pizza spun like a frisbee. The talking burger landed safely inside a giant serving bowl. It looked around proudly and declared, "Behold, the burger popcorn haircut." Even the talking pizza couldn't stop laughing. Super Popcorn used its flowing cape like a superhero's shield to block the flying soda bubbles. The bubbles bounced everywhere, making the restaurant sparkle. The AI robot waiter activated emergency cleaning mode. Tiny cleaning robots raced across the floor, chasing every drop of spilled soda. I finally reached the giant red stop button and pressed it. The soda machine slowly stopped bubbling, and the kitchen became quiet again. Just as everyone started celebrating, the soda machine suddenly burped loudly. Then a giant fizzy bubble floated out with glowing eyes and a huge smile. Super Popcorn whispered, "Uh-oh, I don't think that's normal." The giant fizzy bubble floated higher and proudly announced, "I am Captain Bubble, protector of sparkling drinks." Everyone blinked in confusion. Super Popcorn placed both hands on its hips and declared, "Finally, a superhero worthy of my powers." Captain Bubble smiled politely. I asked Captain Bubble, "Are you here to help us?" Captain Bubble nodded and replied, "Only if nobody tries to pop me." The talking pizza accidentally sneezed. A tiny burst of air sent Captain Bubble wobbling wildly across the kitchen. Super Popcorn dove through the air in slow motion and caught Captain Bubble just before it touched a sharp fork. Everyone cheered. Captain Bubble thanked Super Popcorn by giving it a sparkling superhero badge made entirely of fizzy bubbles. The talking burger tried wearing a bubble badge too, but it popped with a tiny pop. The burger looked disappointed while everyone laughed. The AI chef used a special bubble maker to create dozens of floating bubble badges. Soon, everyone had one pinned proudly to their clothes. The AI robot waiter announced, "Congratulations! AI Restaurant officially has 2 superheroes now." Super Popcorn stood taller than ever. Suddenly, Captain Bubble looked toward the restaurant window and gasped, "Everyone, something enormous is coming this way." Outside, a giant shadow slowly covered the entire restaurant. The giant shadow stopped outside the restaurant. Everyone held their breath as the front door slowly opened. A giant popcorn machine rolled inside on shiny wheels. It had glowing eyes, a friendly smile, and a booming voice that echoed through the restaurant. Super Popcorn pointed dramatically and shouted, "The popcorn monster has arrived!" The giant popcorn machine laughed so hard that popcorn flew everywhere. The giant popcorn machine smiled and replied, "Monster, I'm the new Popcorn Maker 9000. I came to deliver fresh popcorn." Everyone looked embarrassed. The AI chef happily shook hands with the Popcorn Maker 9000 while Super Popcorn slowly lowered its superhero pose with a shy smile. The popcorn maker started popping popcorn at lightning speed. Warm popcorn rained gently into giant serving bowls all around the restaurant. The talking pizza tried catching the falling popcorn with its mouth, but every piece bounced off and landed on the talking burger instead. Everyone burst into laughter. The talking burger looked at the pile of popcorn on its head and proudly declared, "Behold, the burger popcorn haircut!" Even the talking bubble couldn't stop laughing. Super Popcorn stood proudly beside the popcorn maker and announced, "Every superhero needs a headquarters, and this is mine." The robot waiter applauded. Suddenly, every popcorn kernel in the restaurant began glowing with golden light. Captain Bubble looked surprised and whispered, "Something extraordinary is about to happen." The glowing popcorn kernels suddenly floated into the air. They spun around Super Popcorn like a golden superhero tornado. One by one, the glowing kernels attached themselves to Super Popcorn's cape, creating a sparkling golden suit of popcorn armor. Captain Bubble smiled proudly and said, "Congratulations! You've unlocked your true superhero powers." Super Popcorn saluted dramatically. Super Popcorn flew across the restaurant for exactly 3 seconds, then gently bumped into a hanging menu and landed safely in a giant bowl of popcorn. The talking pizza laughed so hard it folded itself in half. The talking burger gave Super Popcorn a thumbs up and said, "Still counts as a superhero landing." The AI chef presented Super Popcorn with a shiny golden trophy labeled Bravest Hero of AI Restaurant. Super Popcorn proudly held it above its head. The AI robot waiter took a group photo with Super Popcorn, Captain Bubble, the giant popcorn maker 9000, a talking pizza, the talking burger, the AI chef, and me. Everyone smiled proudly. The photo was placed on the restaurant's wall of funny heroes. Super Popcorn stood in front of it with a huge smile. As I walked toward the exit, Super Popcorn shouted, "Remember, every hero starts with helping someone even if it's just cleaning up spilled juice." I smiled and nodded. The restaurant lights dimmed and a giant holographic screen lit up above the entrance. It flashed, "Coming next, the hot dog who wanted to be a rock star." I laughed and said, "This restaurant gets crazier every day."